It's a great pleasure to be here today, and on the outset, I'd like to thank Dr. Nayak for giving us this fabulous opportunity to address an august audience of young and upcoming designers. So, let me talk to you today about the concept of timeless architecture. What exactly is timeless architecture? Making timeless architecture refers to creating buildings and structures that exhibit enduring aesthetic appeal, functionality, and relevance over time. Being architects and designers, this is our first desire and urge to create something that is beautiful, that is lasting, and that creates memories for the end users and the public at large. Now, what are the key attributes of timeless architecture? It's very important as architects to understand culture, history, sustainability, geometric order. I cannot tell you how important that is, scale, materials, and wholeness. Wholeness as to holistic thinking and execution. Now, understanding natural materials and elements and uniting the building to the entire site is extremely critical. How do you create this timeless design? It is vital to craft your own design, use true materials, use artisans, which we have in India a lot, create flexible and functional spaces, integrate nature, and please avoid trends. Timelessness and the digital age. We live in very enlightening times, and it's very important to balance innovation and timelessness, adapt to changing technologies, and that's exactly the first thing we did as a firm. When we came to India, we were one of the first firms to digitize our practice. So going into technology, keeping abreast of technology gives you an edge on timeless design. Future-proofing design, that's very critical. Designing for accessibility and inclusivity. This is something I advise my students, upcoming architects, that there is something called universal design today. You cannot escape it. You have to design for the physically handicapped, challenged people. That's so critical. And you're actually judged for having inclusivity in your design. The more of it you have, the more better design you are perceived to be in this day and age. So today I'm going to talk about our own Telangana State Secretariat. It is the crown jewel of our design practice. And why the Telangana State Secretariat? Because there's something called the DNA of Indian design. You see, today's global trends have become very protectionist. We're not just talking about economies that throw tariffs on other nations. We ourselves are victims of it. But it is a time where nations have begun to look inward. And the same thing is going on in architectural practice. No more is there a situation where we as Indian designers look to the West for inspiration. Just because the West follows a certain kind of style of design doesn't really work for the Indian public at large, and this project is an example of it. Now, this is actually in Hyderabad. This was actually a competition. I'll talk about it in a while. It is the first secretariat to be designed by a woman architect, the tallest and the largest to have 2 dome towers and 34 domes. It is also the first IGBC gold-rated green secretariat in India. Now, like I mentioned before, this project didn't fall into our laps. We had a very intense competition, and the reason our design was selected was because this particular design reflected the DNA of Indian design, the psyche of Indian design. Now, the project competition went on for about 12 months, but the minute the design was finalized, it took us just 2 years to build, and that was the diktat given by the Telangana government. We started off in July. December was when the tender selection went on in 2020. The construction was commenced in 2021 and completed in 2023. Very, very tough timeline to achieve, but we made it. And the reason is our knowledge of cutting edge technology. And like I said, the more you are into technology and the knowledge of materials, it just ups the ante for you being to be a more successful leader in building projects. Now, how did we approach this particular project? We took this particular project as an expression of democracy. So in a democracy, it's important to capture the popular imagination of the people of a state and have a mental connect to the local population by adopting contextual architecture. See, that is very important. I did ask the Chief Minister, why did you select our design? And the answer he gave me is, look, we got so many designs with glass and steel and what have you, but we went with your design because it reflected the culture of Telangana. So what we did was we studied the contextual architecture of Hyderabad, which had a lot of very interesting temples and palaces. And our main inspiration was from the Sita Ramachandra temple. The plan as such came in a rectangular format like you would find in a temple with, you see the tiny peripheral domes on the compound wall? They were the inspiration for the 34 domes of this particular complex. Now, if you look at the evolution of the dome design, they came from the Hanuman temple in Gujarat, the Vaiteshwaran Koil in Tamil Nadu, and the Vanarpati Palace in Telangana. So again, I would urge emerging architects to think about learning your history of architecture. I cannot tell you how an important subject it is, and that indeed reflects in your practice. This is the finished product of the Telangana State Secretariat. You can see the 2 dome tower complexes, which is very unique, and the 34 surrounding domes. Now, this is also a very secular, very, very secular secretariat. And why? Because it has a church, temple, and mosque, which was indeed a diktat from the government that we respect inclusivity. Also, we had a whole bunch of facilities. We're talking about interfaith worship facilities, equal number of toilets for men and women, and a whole bunch of facilities, including a helipad. Also, the salient features were unique construction technologies, IGBC gold rating, and the principles of sustainability. Materiality was very, very important. And so remember, we built this in the middle of COVID. So most of our materials came in from Hyderabad, but of course we had to import and transport the Agra sandstone from North India. That's about the only bit of material that we had to bring in. Now, if you look at the site context, we had a beautiful site. As architects, you have to be very lucky to get a site facing the largest man-made lake in India, also facing the Birla Mandir on one side, and the beautiful Necklace Road. So this indeed was a close to 30-acre site, completely rectangular in site, and the other issue was that we had to follow Vastu. This is the site plan, like I mentioned before. You can see a whole bunch of green in front, which was a landscaped area. And the plan as such was very simple. It had a 2.5-acre courtyard in the center. And as architects, you all know that courtyards are basically heat exchangers, where you bring in fresh air, it wafts through the building, through the large corridors that we provided, and then the hot air wafts out through the external envelope where we had very large windows. So each floor was basically housed about 4 ministries, each having its own principal secretaries, ministers, and entire workforce dedicated to that particular ministry. Now, there's a whole bunch of statistics here, but for the record, I can tell you it's about 8.5 lakh square feet of the main building, and the rest of it followed with ancillary facilities. We also followed the proportioning system, the human system, including your palm, which actually can be inscribed into a square. So if you really see, you'll see the elevations of the palm. The center is the human figure. We also followed the golden ratio. That's very, very important. And also the principle of vesica piscis, which is nothing but the breadth of the building to be half of the length of the building. It's a very, very simple principle that we followed. Now we also had the IGBC gold features, efficient irrigation system, rainwater tanks, HVAC systems that was cutting edge, better energy savings, and of course a whole bunch of MEP issues. Now I'll just quickly take you through travel of this entire complex. So if you went in a helicopter, you will see this rectangular footprint with the 34 domes and this setback. And as you enter in through these gates, now these gates were carefully crafted. Now we followed something called a uniform design vocabulary, which means that every little element of the building reflected the basic design philosophy and the basic design vocabulary. So this is a very classical gate, 24 feet long, 26 feet high. And as you move in, you see the dome tower complex. And as you walk in, you would see this enormous 600 feet elevation. And the horizontal massing is cut by vertical elements. The vertical elements are what I call bell towers, but indeed they are nothing but MEP shafts that breaks the scale of this immensely long elevation. This is a view from the NTR gardens. And of course, we had these massive sandstone fountains. This is just to give you an idea of the elevational detail that we followed. So if you look, you'll see the window elements are differing from floor to floor. You have this beautiful 3-story arched windows, and then you get the punched windows. Now remember, the height of this building was basically split into 14 feet and 16 feet high spaces. Large, this is the largest portico in the world ever, a massive entrance of world's biggest entrance door. It's a square of 24 feet by 24 feet. This is the central courtyard. And the interesting thing about this is that the elevation of the outside is reflected into the elevation of the courtyard spaces. Now, just to give you a feel of the interior spaces, this is the grand lobby, 2-story height, the beautiful and massive green and a white marble, and this is something what I call a sequential experience. You want to create timeless architecture, create something called sequential experience, that is right from the gates onto the exterior of the building and then onto the interior. So when you walk along this huge power corridor of power, you'd actually see the beautiful columns, the fantastic capitals, the 2 dome tower complexes. So it's actually a photographer's delight. So as you move in, you get different angles of the secretariat. This is the Chief Minister's Conference Hall. Remember, this is all done in neoclassic French style. There was a lot of mixing of styles. The Chief Minister's office that beats the size of Putin's and Donald Trump's office, much, much larger than that. This is the VIP lounge. So let's say you are the Chief Minister of a neighboring state. You would come here, be seated, experience this beautiful neoclassic design interior before you're actually ushered into the Chief Minister's office. This is the Chief Secretary's office. We indulged in different design-oriented materials. So these were all wooden panel interiors. You can see that Honorable Minister's cabin, the Cabinet meeting hall, the VIP dining hall. Remember, in the heights of COVID, you couldn't afford to go to China or Europe and bring in furniture. Every stick of furniture that you're seeing here was made in Hyderabad. That goes to say that India has a lot of potential. You don't need to import anything from abroad. You have good artisans here, you have willing furniture manufacturers, you have excellent materials. It's a question of how you exploit them. This is the waiting lounge, one of the waiting lounges. We took a lot of trouble over the doors of the secretariat. Each door was of a different design, different inlay design, which we call Bidri art. I don't know how many of you are here from Hyderabad, but you'll know that this metal inlay work is one of the finest that you can find in Telangana. We also created hospitality spaces because the Chief Minister didn't want to waste taxpayers' money in hiring five-star spaces, five-star hotels for holding state events. So we created this very beautiful multi-story hall, dining halls. There's a banquet hall also, ceremonial halls where awards would be presented. And indeed, the highlight is the Telangana 360, or the Hyderabad 360. This space comes below the main dome, 60 feet in diameter. So if you walked right in and took a spin around, you would get the 360 view of the Hyderabad city. Truly a very, very beautiful space. Now, I worked with Philips to do the lighting. We didn't have any lighting designer, but working with them was a treat because they brought in the latest technology, layering of lighting. I'm sure some of you are also de facto lighting designers, and you will know what I'm talking about. So we created this fantastic design, which if you see in the night time, the reflection in the Hussain Sagar Lake is something truly beautiful. Now, it is never easy to work with governments. I don't know how many of you work with central and state governments. They are very exacting, but I was lucky to have a chief minister who believed in us, all instructed Shapurji and Palanji to follow our drawings. So this was the interaction we had with him. And this is a construction sequence of surveying, excavation, and then the actual superstructure coming up, and then the beautiful secretariat that rose up from the ground. Then fixing of the national emblem was another very emotional moment. And of course, the dome execution. Now here with the Chief Minister, I was very particular on using PT construction, which he completely agreed with, but we used a hell of a lot of steel. Steel technology, I'm telling you, is something that you need to exploit and use because it shortens the construction time by more than half. And it's so much more lighter. So you can see these metal trusses that form the dome skeleton. We threw in the SS sheets, lifted them, and before we lifted each dome, we did a little oven. And there you can see it goes and sits on the drum of the dome. And there you can see the beautiful domes in the center. And over the domes, we threw in the shotcreting and then threw the GRC skins on. This is something which I've spoken before. It's steel technology, but remember the real secret is GRC technology, glass reinforced concrete, which I'm telling you is an old technology in the West. The Middle East uses it a lot, but this is one big building in India which used this technology, and that's the reason we were able to finish it very fast. Of course, we had a zillion challenges. COVID was one of them. Our workers ran away, and we had to depend on local labor. And that's the reason why I tell designers, there's going to be a lot more COVID scenarios that are going to come. Learn to exploit local materials. Learn to use local labor. They are the only things will save you in the end. Of course, our triumphs were many. IGBC gold rated, finished it in 26 months, and today it is a gold icon. We've won several national and international awards. And by the way, we just won, we were in London last week, and we were honored in the House of Lords at Westminster Palace for building one of the world's most beautiful buildings, which is also a green building. It is truly a treat to stand among Europeans who recognize this incredible feat. I just threw in this slide to show the different moods of the Secretariat. Dawn, midday, dusk, and night view. Oscar will give you a very fast run-up of what the kind of projects we do. Oscar?
Good evening, everyone. Ours is almost 30-year practice now. We started in 1996, so we'll probably show you a tapestry of projects we've been done for the past 3 decades. This is a project Ponni is working on day and night. This was a competition we won for the government of Tamil Nadu. This is a State Library and Science Center. This is slated for completion probably by February of 2026 because the government is up for elections, so it's going on a fast track mode. This is almost 2 lakh square feet, 300 crore project. It's got 2 levels of science museum, and above that is the state library showcasing a lot of books, Tamil, digital library and things like that. The work is going on full swing at the moment. And this is coming up in Coimbatore. This is side view. There will be a video on this after some time. These are some of our other projects.
Sorry about this. Why is this not moving?
This is a convention center we're working on in ECR. It's a 10,000-seater convention center with collapsible partitions, modules of 2,500, 5,000, 2,500. It's a very linear building in the sense it's almost 600 feet long. So it's got a huge lobby, arrival lobby. After that, you have the convention centers, and then we have the dining and kitchen areas. And the first floor, there are rooms for people who can use it for weddings, exhibitions, and things like that. This is under construction on the East Coast Road in Chennai.
Next. Just hold it. This doesn't work. Next, you can move it.
Yeah, this is one more convention center which is coming up in Chennai, around 6 lakh square feet. Yeah, this is a project we are doing now for the government of Andhra Pradesh. This is in Amravati, the new capital. We have just completed the design project report, detailed project report. It's a museum with statue of NTR. This statue is almost the height of the Statue of Liberty, which is done in Gujarat, but only Sardar Patel's statue, it's coming up, it's already come up in Gujarat, 182 meters. The statue height is the same, but we have a 5 lakh square feet museum at the bottom, but this sits on a hill of 150 meters. So naturally, this will be the tallest statue in the world. This is coming at Neerkonda Hill in Amravati. Yeah, this is a different view showing it's on a hill as I said, so it's got a terrace-like development. So we have 6 pavilions or museums showcasing Andhra culture, showcasing NTR's movies, his costumes, ornaments and things like that. This is a project Ponni has worked for the Gaganan Space Center in Sriharikota. This project we have done is a museum for Dr. Kalinja, the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, Karnanidhi. It's come up in Tanjavur, a place called Thiruvarur. We also do a lot of IT parks. One of the largest IT parks we've done in OMR. It's around 30 lakh square feet. Each floor is around 3 lakh square feet. It's completed like 10 years ago. This is phase 1, which is around 15 lakh square feet IT park. This is City Lights IT Park, Pacifica Tech Park. It's called around 12 lakh square feet, again in OMR. These are some projects we've done in the city of Chennai. This is ITC Global Services IT Park. Next. This is a small IT park for a campus we have done for Arune Engineering College, one of the oldest projects. This is Satyam Technology Park, now it's called Tech Mahindra. It's in Orissa, Bhubaneswar. This is another project in Amravati. It's the administrative building for APIAC. This is another IT park in Sirisiri for Tech Pro. This is a recently completed building for a small corporate office from Bangalore called Microtech. We also do a lot of resorts. This is an eco resort which we have completed in Havelock Islands in Port Blair. This is a La Meridian Hotel in Coimbatore, which is around 7 lakh square feet, around 256 keys. This is one of the suites, the Tamil Nadu suite in the hotel. This is the KCB Mercure Hotel, part of Novotel Group in Hyderabad. This is Accord Hotel in Puducherry, around 1.4 lakh square. Again, French style because Pondicherry has got a lot of French influence. This is a bar of the hotel in Puducherry. This is a biotech park we have done for Shastra University. It's got biosafety level 1, level 2, and level 3 labs, plus the animal house. It's more like a research park. This is a recently completed academic facility for the Shastra University. This showcases the library, which is right in the center of the entire academic facility. This is a GRT College of Engineering. It is on the way to Tirupati. It's a huge campus we have designed. This is the main building with the academic complexes. This is one of our first building we did in 1996 when we came from the US for a 200-acre campus in Namakkal, Salem. This was the administrative building. This is recently completed St. Bede's Auditorium. It's a 100-year-old campus, so it reflects the old style in the new buildings because it went to the Heritage Committee. This is an international school we have done in Tirunamalai. It is a holy city. We took the mountain as the inspiration. So you see the library, the shape of a pyramid, it kind of reflects the mountain behind. This is a small novitiate for St. Church Park School. It's called the Menorah House. This is a Lawrence School, Ooty. We had used a brick architecture because it kind of reflected the olden style of the building which was built there like 100 years ago. These are upcoming potential projects, high-rise buildings. But on the extreme end, you see the hospital which is coming up in Hyderabad. L&T is building it for us, around 20 lakh square feet. These are proposals for projects for apartments in my hometown, Mangalore. They're coming up now in Mangalore. Next. These are Victoria apartments which are completed in Omar in Chennai. This Ponni has done this project along with Rahul. It's in Kuala Lumpur for an industrialist of Malaysia. They wanted a fusion of Malay and Chettinad architecture. These are projects we did around 25 years ago in Doha, Qatar. A couple of stadiums we designed there. This is one of the projects. These are a few bridges we have done for the government of Telangana. So I'll just run a couple of videos now.
Just to give you an idea, as a firm, we don't believe in a signature style. We believe in contextual architecture. Every oftentimes we have to remember as architects, it's your duty to translate the dreams of your clients into reality, which means that yes, this is an opportunity to express your creativity. But if you want to be a successful architect, you can't afford to be very stubborn. You need to follow up with the client brief. And this is a secret that successful architects will never share with you. And that's the reason we as a firm has been able to survive for more than now 30 years. We are in the 31st year. That it is important that you listen to the brief of your client.
హెచ్ఓడిల సముదాయము ఒక అద్భుతమైన కళాభారతి. We look at Hyderabad with our own vision.
Quick video on the Coimbatore library that's going on. So you will see a completely different style of architecture that's coming in. Oscar, can we have the Coimbatore library? Yeah. So look at the design vocabulary. So very different. center, part of the library, ground floor and first floor, the interiors of the planetarium, the science, STEM and play zone center, the space lift, the auditorium, the children's library, the children's theatre, the different sections of the library, the Tamil section, periodical section, digital library, which is on the topmost floor, forms a bridge between the two towers, a garden. And then we also have 2 floors of incubation centers, which the government was very insisted on. Own book sections, competitive sections for UPSC exams. And there you see it, the entire building in its totality. Very contemporary modern architecture. Thank you.